Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad that you could keep this appointment. Tonight's guests are probably among the hardest working brothers in the True Conscious movement. Twin brothers Red Pill and Blue Pill are two of 5 children born to their mother, Annette Thomas, aka Mama Pill, herself a renowned healer, herbal practitioner, and apprentice of the late Dr. Sebi, who you know cured AIDS, cancer, herpes, syphilis, and other life-threatening diseases that have plagued our community. Brother Red Pill and Brother Blue Pill's father, Wayne, has a 10-year tenure at CUNY College teaching African American literature. One sibling, KT, the arch degree, has himself gained widespread acclaim in holistic health and well-being and in decoding the matrix. The dynamic duo known as Red Pill and Blue Pill have dedicated their lives to uplifting falling humanity by way of the arts and sciences, music, fashion, film, video, podcasts, books, literature, lectures, courses, comic blogs, newspapers, and lifestyle. Their motto is health, wealth, and knowledge of self. While 44 years old, they say they feel like they're 22. Their lifestyle brand, it focuses on a transformation, elevation, and the advancement of our nation. I want you to help me welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G, brothers Red Pill and Blue Pill.
Yes, indeed.
Peace, yes, indeed.
That's my theme music, so you have to rock with me a little bit. Okay, I know
We won't break out no dance moves on you.
How are you doing?
After that introduction, we have to be doing amazing, because that was an amazing introduction.
Oh, wow. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna let the music rock. I haven't figured out how to, let my music stop when I start to talk, but I have my own theme music, so
that's right. You gotta rock to it.
Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G.
Honest.
Brother Red Pill, Brother Blue Pill. You guys are phenomenal, and I come from a phenomenal stock. And your parents, I guess, had the assignment of bringing in champions. So, honors to them, respect to them.
Yes, honors to thy father and thy mother, Mama Pill, Papa Pill. They are both very powerful forces in our lives. So we give praise and honors to their existence and to their consistency.
That's awesome. It must have been amazing to grow up, in the environment that you all have grown up in. Apparently it laid the foundation for who you are now. And I mean, you yourselves, I would assume, are probably parents yourself. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I'm a parent of 3.
Parent of 3. Okay.
Yes.
And I know when I was up in Brooklyn last, I think it was November, I want to say, it was the Ascension 2020. What's it called? Ascension 2020.
Yes.
And I was. You both spoke as a part of that, along with Billy Carson was.
Yes.
Billy Carson was there. I think it's a keynote, and
yes.
You all really, it did something. And then Brother Red Pill, we had a conversation out in the break area where all the vendors were, and I don't know if you know it, Brother Blue Pill. I think I went over to the vending table, and I want to tell you, I had the most amazing kale salad something that I have ever had. It gave me a newfound love of kale. I've not been able to duplicate that as of yet.
Yes, it's a science. Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't on the it wasn't on as a part of your, you know, your bio, but you're a chef. You must be vegan,
That
vegetarian.
too. Yes, I've been
Okay.
doing that. I think that goes under the alchemy.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
I know.
it
I
all
know.
works.
Look, I had a taste of that, and I was like, how? And it was almost gone, so I couldn't even get a to-go box,
Yeah,
right? So
it went quick.
yeah, I had to get that, but I want to say that I really did enjoy that. But you know, there's a lot going on in our so-called world, and so you know, we were brother Red Pill, we were looking to have you here at House of Reawakening Minds beginning of the year for an event that we had to postpone indefinitely due to what we're going through.
Right.
But I'm glad, you know, this time to have not only you but your twin. And I won't repeat what I said about the red and the blue, because you said don't do that. But you talked about dichotomy. He's smiling. But we talked about, you know, the when I thought about red pill and blue pill, I think about the movie, The Matrix, and you know that saying that, you know, what what's his name?
Morpheus.
Morpheus said to Neo, you know, when he gave him a choice. But you corrected me, Brother Red Pill, and said it's not so much that it's a, you know, one is like the down, if you will, you stay like you are, but you talked about dichotomy and the fact that we
Yeah.
all, yeah.
Let me just say something, because it's a beautiful way to set the agenda for what we're talking about tonight. And I want
Okay.
to give credit to a lecturer in our community, a brother named Ross Ben. And Ross Ben, he did a video in November of 2019, on or around the same time that we met. And his video was about the coming conjunctions for 2020. And the conjunction is planetary alignments. And he said that 2020 will be a quantum year. And what he meant by that is, he said 2020 is no longer about either or, right? But in the quantum realm, you can engage both. So in a binary world, which is a regular world that we came from post 2020, I mean, prior to 2020, a binary world leaves you the option of yes or no, or either or zeros and ones. Whereas a quantum realm or quantum world will have you going beyond binary into trinary and beyond that, and you can exercise the option of yes and no at the same time.
Yep.
It's qubits, so it's no longer
Super
zeros and ones;
composition.
it's zero ones and ones and zeros.
Right.
So when I made my observations of the matrix, I said, "Wow, if Neo popped both pills, he really might have been onto something." But he bought into the idea that he only had a choice of either or, and no
Right.
one allows us to exercise the X option, which is, yeah, I'll do both.
Right. So red and blue is purple like Prince, right?
I put
And
purple
then,
out there. You see what you notice I said,
Yeah,
what does
yeah, I
I
see
did,
you.
that was my
so yeah, like Blue was saying, what we represent is the reality of Neo when he took both pills, right? Because we live in a reality where, like Blue said, you're given a choice of one or the other, Democrat or Republican, you know, black or white, you know, uh, fat or skinny, hot or cold. But 2020 in a nutshell represents the walking through the threshold of a quantum reality. You know, it's going bad and it's a great year at the same time,
you're
right?
right. Yeah.
There's an entanglement that's taking place. There's a quantum entanglement that's taking place in this reality that 2020 represents, where there are multiple time periods lapping or collapsed on top of each other. So depending on who you talk to and about what subject, they will say, well, it feels like the 70s again. But then they'll also say it feels like 94. But then they'll say, well, what we went through this summer with the protests and whatnot, that was hearkening back to the 60s.
68, yeah.
But then the elders will say, no, that was feeling like Red Summer 1919, right? And then when you look in popular culture, these are main TV shows that have been embossed upon the minds of millions of people. So they qualify as programming. The Watchmen, right? They received a lot of awards and whatnot. They introduced they reawakened Black Wall Street in the minds and in the hearts of millions upon millions of people, because the very first episode, the award-winning series opens up depicting the Black Wall Street Massacre. And then in the series Lovecraft Country, they're talking about Emmett Till.
Emmett Till, yeah.
So
they're
all of these
about Tulsa too.
And Tulsa's in there as well. Mm-hmm. So these hit series are hitting on situations and timelines. You had Bumpy and you had Malcolm coming together, and they gave us a Afro surrealistic view of Bumpy Johnson and Malcolm X being compadres fighting the mafia in the TV show that was entitled The Godfather of Harlem, right? Mm-hmm. And we are of the understanding that neurocinematics and Hollywood and film is one of the most powerful tools of social programming, social engineering, and basically creating glitches in the matrix, you know.
So why do you think, why is it that at this time we're seeing with such an emphasis on BLM, which we know I'm not talking about the organization because I don't subscribe to that one, but just the fact that attention is being drawn to melanated folks and the fact that they are trying to say that our lives matter. Why is it and Watchmen came out prior to what we're going through now, as if it were maybe just sort of a precursor to what was coming. But why do you think it's happening now in 2020? Because I think about 2020 as like 2020 vision, seeing things that you didn't see before. And I'm wearing glasses and I have obviously not 2020 vision, but why is it happening now?
If you want me to set it up or you want to go?
Go ahead.
If you really sit back and think about how else would the script be written for 2020, like what else would take place other than the quote unquote chosen ones, the children of God, the ones who are written into the revelation that actually speaks of what 2020 represents. Because according to the ancestors and according to what was written, every single thing is going according to plan. It doesn't appear as if anything is not going according to plan. If you follow the biblical narrative, if you follow the biblical narrative of Zion, if you follow the biblical narrative of the apocalypse, which is the awakening, it means the lifting of the veils. Mm-hmm. If you follow the biblical narrative of the quote unquote the apocalypse or the revelations, which is the revealing, it's not what Hollywood were trying to depict. It's something more spiritual. If you were to follow that, if you were to follow the narrative of Caesar and of Pharaoh and whatnot, and where Egypt was, where you had these corrupt, you had Rome, you know what I mean? You had the corrupt Senate. You had messiahs that were amongst us, messianic ones that were amongst us, disciples, apostles. There is a rise in consciousness, not in our community. There's a rise in consciousness in the forest. There's a rise in consciousness in the ocean. There's a rise of consciousness in Indonesia. There's a rise in consciousness in China. It's everywhere. So these times were written about, and we could show you through the metrics. It doesn't have to be how we feel or our bias or whatnot. We could show you through the metrics. We could show you through the data about the awakening that has taken place since the erroneously titled 2012. Because in my calendar, this is 2012. It's the Ethiopian 2012, right? According to the Ethiopian calendar, this is 2012. And based off of what we're seeing revelation wise in terms of the signs, because if this is a spiritual war and we're fighting with powers of a higher principality or fighting against powers of a higher principality, then we should train our third eye to see things in the subtle realm. And we should learn that the great divine speaks through signs. So what is nature showing us? Forget about what man is doing. What is nature's? What's the language that nature is speaking? And what is the theater of events? So to harken back, I'm going to wrap this up, to harken back to what Blue opened up speaking about. In our archives, there is a brother by the name of Ross Ben. He is a mystical, he's the mystic out of Philly, right? He predicted on in what was it, October or November, Blue?
November.
In a November 2019 YouTube video, and then again on our show in January 2020, he laid out completely everything that was going to happen. We follow the procession of the equinox, meaning that we're physicians and whatnot. So when you tap into the alignments that have taken place, the fact that Saturn and Mars and Pluto were lined up, the fact that we had multiple conjunctures, one of them was in April 4th, and you look at as above, so below, everything is in alignment. Every single thing, even what we saw this summer with the uprising, alongside the fact that multiple people were being blessed with money that was coming out of nowhere. Manna was raining down during a time where people were predicted to be in poverty or a depression. You saw manna coming out of the heavens and whatnot. People were being forgiven for debt. People were being forgiven for loans. They were freezing stuff. That is identified in the biblical, right? In the biblical, which this is America, and we're talking on a global scale. Even in the Islamic narrative, the Jubilee year, it's all dealing with the Jubilee. And the Jubilee came after, remember Project 1619?
Expound on that.
The 1619 project.
Right. In August of 2019, the New York Times, in conjunction with some melanated scholars, released something called Project 1619, which was inaugurating the 400 years that melanated people had been in this country via quote unquote captivity by way of Jamestown, Virginia. August 20th, 1619 is the documented date that the first slave arrived here on the shores, which automatically brings melanated people in alignment with Genesis 13:15 and the prophecies about being in captivity. Children of Canaanite will be in captivity for 400 years in a foreign land, and then after the 400-year period, they will receive freedom. And that first year is to be met with Jubilee. And Jubilee is partying, it's also forgiving of debt, and it's also atonement. So if we get out of our feelings and step back and make observations about what it is that we saw this year, we can identify all of those elements were at play. During quarantine, our people partied. You know what I'm saying? They were celebrating. They had club quarantine. You know what I'm saying? They was, our people was insistent. When the guidelines lifted, that they wanted to party. They wanted to celebrate. We really cut a rug and broke a leg this year, celebrating and partying, and no one could quite put a finger on it. Even the firework debacle, the fact that people was blowing up fireworks, they were celebrating every day like it was July 4th.
Sure
What I'm
was.
saying? Juneteenth getting its prominent, its badge, or being observed. This is about observation and being able to be seen from a people who have been so unseen and so insignificant for so long. This is the year that we finally got our uppitance in terms of, our look. You can't turn on TV and not see us right now. We're
That's true.
carrying the movies. We're carrying the TV. We're carrying entertainment. You know what I'm saying? We are the underpinning that carries politics, because it's not those two old white men.
Nope.
The ones that look like they from the Muppets. Remember when they said? Remember the two old men, the two old white men in the
They were
Muppets?
scary too.
Yeah, the scary looking ones. Yeah, they not the ones carrying the politics. So our people is carrying the burden of all of this, and it's our time, and we don't, because we are not mindful of the time that we're in, and for whatever reason, the church has gone to sleep at the most pivotal period ever, and they're not explaining the narrative like that. You know, this is about the curse of Ham. You know what I'm saying? Hence the
Right.
fact that you have this virus, this pestilence. Pestilence and pigs go hand in hand. Then the people got issues with the pigs, the police. You know, I mean, it all goes back to these narratives, whether they are literal or they have taken on an aspect of fantasy in our lives, that we have personified them in our very being. Because for people who have given so much of themselves to Christianity and so much of themselves to the book, who are they in the book? You can't you can't be that involved in a doctrine and not find yourself in it. No way, no how. Who are we in that scripture? Right? That's a qualified question to ask. We can walk away and be displeased with Christianity. We can transform ourselves within it. We can transform ourselves without it. But we need to answer these questions. Who are we in that text? Right? Because we ain't just no slaves in that text.
And that's true. Yeah. I mean, as a former pastor, one
Yes.
of the things that, and going, to school of ministry and school of theology, that's where my doctorate is in theology. I really felt after, I had the awakening almost 10 years ago, we just talked about, that I had wasted a lot of time. However, a wise man, Grand Sheikh Tashriq Bey, said to me, Dr. Naila, don't throw the baby away with the bathwater, because that's our book. There might be a lot of corruption in the way it's being taught, and it's described, and using anthropomorphic terms and so forth. And then I began to go back in it and look at it in a totally different way, and could see a lot of parallels, not with so much with always yesterday, but right now, of things. There's one scripture in particular that whenever I read it, I had the feeling of now as opposed to then. And it was a scripture that talked about this generation. This is the generation that seek thy face, O Jacob. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't know when it was written per se for real, but it always seemed present in the present tense. And so always being a seeker of truth somewhere in me, even though I was trained in dogmatic belief systems, when the time came, 2010, the awakening came for me, and it was spontaneous. It wasn't, nobody coerced me. Nobody said it's time for you to wake up. I had a whole church and a whole congregation and a whole salary and all of that stuff. But when an awakening happens, when the time comes, like I said, you're saying that there was an 8-year difference in the 2012 versus what we were told, and what was going to happen in 2012 and what is actually happening now because of that time period. So from a standpoint of choices and multiple choices, you talked about multiple choices versus ones and twos and a binary system of either or, that now, and I can see that in terms of, say, even the gender revolution. What's happened with the gender revolution, people, they're making a stance whether they want to be not only this or that, but there's a whole, alphabet list of things that people or have created in the last year or so to select from and define themselves.
They're
So
going quantum.
right. So and it's interesting that you went right into the
And
quantum.
yeah, and that is Aquarian androgyny.
Mm-hmm.
right, is Aquarian. For them to have these multiplicity of options, you know, that somewhat coincides with the time that we're in.
Part of the time.
So when you talk about in terms of I mean, I'm involved in some things that have to do. I'm just going to post this up. People don't know what this is about necessarily, but I have a bit something going across here right now, which deals with, you see, quantum energy healing, which deals with the fact that in the quantum entanglement you talked about, we are all connected, and so there's, you know, they have found a way to put healing and health and prosperity and what up in the quantum field, and to allow you to, which is, you know, I'm dealing on I have a couple of activations going on for myself right now that
Mm-hmm.
came from a quantum activation, and the thing that was activated for, one is prosperity, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
one is even, I have energy running right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was so tired. I went to bed at 5, like about 5 something this morning, and I think I only slept for about an hour and a half. I was fitful. And so I started to say, I am so tired. And then I said, oh, wait a minute, let me give myself a boost in the quantum field of from this
Right.
limbic arc. I need energy. And
Mm.
I did good. And when you got almost time for the show, I started to go down again. And I thought, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, drink some water and reboot myself. And here I am. I don't look like I haven't had any sleep, because
Right.
that is, it's in the quantum field. By the same token, would you say that we are being force fed or subliminally, I guess is a better word to say, charged with quantum, since everything is entangled? Are there those who know this, that others that don't know, that they might be sending, if you will, or you know, it could be, you know, when I do energy work, you know, you could kind of direct, you know, we talk about directed energy weapons.
Yeah,
All
direct the energy.
are not necessarily, you know, something with a laser at the end of it.
Right.
So what would you say to what's going on with us? You know, is this coming from Gaia and to activate us, or is it coming from a few knowledgeable folk, you know, in a sitting up in high places? You know, we talk about spiritual wickedness in high places, who are doing something to um, discombobulate some, but to awaken others.
I mean, it goes back to what we were saying about the precession of the equinox, as above, so below, and you know what's prevalent on this planet or this plane right now, and you know the fact that the 2020 has been destined and to be the year of fear, that the year started, you know, with fear mongering. And when we understand the occultic principles of what fear can do to a people who are destined and prophesized to raise up this year at a certain time conjuncture, and the people coming together is important, and the people being able to breathe is important, and the people gathering as a collective in the sun is important, and the people having clean bodies that doesn't have nano chips and whatnot, that is important for their ascension, you know. So when you begin to see exercises by Bill Gates and provocations by collective governments who are all, right, dictatorships, right, autocracies cloaked in democracies, but we know what democracy is now, so we know that the demonocracy has been, you know, transported. That's what Taj taught us. Okay, Taj taught us about the intercatera divina, and that's exactly what's taking place right now. It is of no coincidence that the people who are manipulative of the media, remember, this whole pandemic or plandemic was strengthened via media.
Yes.
This is a media-based attack. This is a media-based type of, you know, assault, and it has real-world implications. Yes, and it has real-world. It's a real life, real-world drill. It is a live exercise. So of course people are becoming sick and then stricken with pathogens and whatnot, you know. But the fear campaign and the fear-mongering campaign, it was all media based. They canceled the NBA season. They canceled the NAA season in March during March Madness, and they started a panic. And then after that, they began the mask mandates, and the mask mandates began the panic. And then they began the hotspots and the breakouts in different urban cities, right? New York being the ground zero, right? That coming out of the Hasidic community, okay? The same community that brought the mumps and the measles in about a year before that, okay? So we're talking about Israel now. We're talking China. We're talking Zionism. We're talking America. You know, there's all of these factors, and there's levels of co-conspirators. There's levels of, you know, provocateurs, but we know it's a spiritual thing taking place, and it has to take place, and it was destined to take place. It was written to take place. And as a result of it taking place, many other people who were destined to spread their wings and to shine their light and to step forward, they've been given the opportunity to do such. So going back to what we we're saying earlier, you're either going to look at this as a glass half full, or you're going to look at it as a glass half empty. The same way that there were people who thrived during the Depression era, right? Thrived, the Harlem Renaissance. You know what I'm talking about? Melanated people, the rise of Garveyism, the rise of the nation. It's Elijah's birthday today. So, salam alaikum to the legend, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? The rise of what Malcolm was bringing. These were during times of adversity. So adversity creates the best of our people, okay? Adversity has been shown to create the best of us. During the 1800s, we had a surge in inventors during the time of, you know, when they were quote unquote terrorizing our people. So Blue Pill, I want to hear from Blue.
Do you want to add to that, Brother Blue Pill?
I mean, I think that give me 1 second. Is my mic okay? My mic is on.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I think that was an elaborate explanation. He pretty much hit it on the head, you know.
Well, from a standpoint of their predictive programming, let's go there.
Right.
Predictive programming, and how many, you know, how far we can go back. I mean, I can think back as far as the well, I wasn't born then, but when you hear tell of War of the Worlds was broadcast on radio back then, and it caused such a panic that
Hysteria, right?
Hysteria and so forth, and they tried to say that they were checking to see how the nation would respond to any type of anything that dealt with the extraterrestrial presence here on Earth, and that it didn't go well. So that was their justification for all of their secrecy and so forth. But it didn't stop them from themselves creating, back what do you call it, reverse engineering, and having their stealth planes and things that actually look like the stuff that the very things that they put in the movies. So predictive programming, you can go back and look at the various movies that now speak to have since things have happened that we could say, hey, didn't they say that? I mean, there was Contagion, the movie called Contagion, kind of address where we are. There have been various and sundry other things that have been in movies, and we were being entertained instead of enlightened for the most part. But hindsight is 2020, so people can now go back and look and say, oh yeah, I did see that. I did see that subtly, or see that being, but I thought it was just a fantasy. So from a standpoint of, like you said, people can thrive during times of adversity when everything else is falling apart. I do agree with that personally. But if a person is struggling And right now, because their mind, I call it mind F, by what they've been hearing and seeing. How
Mhm.
can one get back on track and prosper, like you say people are prospering in this time? Somebody might be say, look, I mean, I don't have my job, whatever they want to call it. I'm struggling in this area financially, or I'm struggling, relationship, because things people have, living in close proximity. People are snapping and people are killing folk. It's just, a lot of crazy stuff is going on. But in the midst of all of this, because I know, Brother Blue Pill, you all just finished the Kundalini um, uh,
Workshop, yes.
workshop, and I was listening to you and Brother Rich talking about the after and all of the the testimonies that had come in. But how does someone without the benefit of that start to put his or her life into a on a track that they are controlling, that they are the conductor or the engineer, and not being engineered from something out there?
Well, they have to be responsible first and foremost to be aware, right? To be aware and to be in the presence. They have to be in the now, and they should be aware of what's going on in the now and what opportunities are presenting themselves in the now. And if they were aware of what's taking place in the now, they would realize that there are multiple streams of income opening up on a weekly basis. There are fields of cryptocurrency. There's fields of Forex. There are fields of, brothers and sisters taking their own skill sets and their expertise and monetizing it. There's a new economy on the scene called the passion economy.
I think she wants to know, how does somebody get to that place, though?
How do they get to that
If
place?
they might be in despair, if they
Right.
might have bought into the predictive programming of
Right.
this is the end of the world, and
Right.
doing bad, and
Right.
everything is drying up. How can
Yeah.
somebody reverse engineer that to see these options that you're speaking of?
All right. Well, one of the things that people that I know are doing to reverse engineer the programming is they're reprogramming themselves. So they're listening to music that is a little more victorious sounding. They're watching certain movies that are dealing with, expanding their minds and making them think, like going back to watch The Matrix, tapping into movies that explain what is going on these days, because 2020 was the year that conspiracy theory became facts. A lot of them, through the Jeff Epstein scandal that opened up the deep state, that opened up the thing with the sex trafficking, human trafficking, that opened up Pizzagate. There's so many different doors that have been opened up in real time. The disclosure of the UFOs by the Pentagon, that opening up, all of these things are beginning to reveal themselves. So if one were to let go of fear by doing what? By enlightening themselves with some type of information that can help empower them, and they could take them out of a sense of fear, because fear is what's debilitating our people. Fear is what's stifling people. Fear is what has brothers and sisters committing crimes against each other. Fear is what's igniting. Remember, when you put a person under fear, you activate the 4 F's: fight, flight, fornicate, or feast. So people are running from their cities, right?
Right.
Mass exodus from the metropolises, where people are stacked on top of each other because of social distancing and the fear of an airborne virus that is a silent killer. They're fighting a lot. There's wars going on. There's all kind of gang wars, rappers beefing. It's a lot of tension.
Mm-hmm.
Fornication is at an all-time high. There's the OnlyFans, they just put out a top earners list, and people are making $20 million a month. You know what I mean? Black China off of OnlyFans by letting brothers and sisters go and tap into the fantasy realm. Escapism is very high right now. So people are willing to escape and instead of facing certain things. So my main advice would be to find purpose, find your passion, and let go of the fear. You have to see the glass as half full rather than being half empty. They have a lot of fear to sell you and to feed you. They could come up with a lot of fake statistics and reasons to be afraid. But we're saying that there's not, if not more, if not equal, there's more reasons to not be afraid and to be grateful and to be joyous and to be very eager as to what the next what more gifts is the now going to bring.
That's good advice. I know when you talk about music, personally, I found myself lately listening to a lot of what is it on Sirius XM, going, I call it the nostalgia.
The
So
classics, right?
classic, the classic stuff. And just because I don't want to hear, if there's certain, like you said, there's certain tones that will incite your brain, your excitotoxins and all that. And so yeah.
I don't want to cut your wisdom. I just want to
Okay.
say that the classic music is a time machine and it's the last bastion for intelligence. What do you mean, Red Pill? What I mean is, if you listen to a song from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, they will make you think. It's a time machine. A lot of the answers that we need to solve for today is in the past. So what's going to get you back there but the music? We're not sitting around watching VHS.
The love was in the music.
Huh?
The love was in the music.
The militancy was
so
in the
was the
music.
struggle.
The compassion was in the music. Blue. The answers were in the music. I know people that's listening to old Wu-Tang and they're able to decode the now. The versus challenges that took place, those were essential because it helped people remember what they forgot. When you're inundated with junk, when you're inundated with lower frequencies, when you're inundated with the chitlins of what this digitized industry, this demonic industry has begun to morph into, how the hell could you remember the classics? How could you breathe? So we have to remember, put it back together. So when you go back into the mind state of a 94, when you go back into the mind state of an 84, you get your civility back. We were not savages back then. We were not happy to say that. We were not living wayward like that. We were not as backwards as we are today. So people are finding themselves in nostalgia. For anybody that's out there who wants to tap into any type of entrepreneurial endeavor, I'm here to tell you that nostalgia is at the top of everyone's top 5 list as to, the niches to get into.
Wow, that's interesting. And the other thing about the music of, like my day when I was growing up and listening to, I realize now, going back to listen to a lot of that I didn't, we were all into at the time it was the beat, we could have, we partied, I graduated in 1973, and I can remember, going back to now want to listen to music like Samande and War and the deep stuff that made you, the world is the ghetto and different, the different things that we were listening to. But I realized that I didn't know the words to a lot of the songs that I loved back then. And then you go, now that I'm older, I'm saying, is that what they were saying?
Because you are the word now.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't understand it because you wasn't it. You are the word now. Listening to The World is a Ghetto, you'd be like, oh shit, I'm forgetting that what I'm going through right now is nothing new. We're so lost. We are really in limbo as a people right now. We are General Zod in space. The music is a time machine. It's getting people back to their right minds. This is not this. We created a issue that's not an issue. White people are not an issue. Crooked pigs are not an issue. Killer cops, it's not an issue. You know what I'm saying? It's not a new issue.
You're right.
What is it? It's part of the script. How is it an issue when it's this the antagonist and the protagonist? It's the set. It's the Roman soldier. It's never not been in this picture. It's never not been part of the narrative. It's never not been in the mythos. So what? There's always been that character. To try to point it out like this is something new. What the fuck? Benjamin Crump popping up like this is no. He's always been in the picture. And these Roman soldiers have always been in the picture. Like we're wasting time trying to prove something this meaningless. It's like we're trying to expose what the script is. And we're like, bro, the script is the script everywhere. They follow the same script in Africa, India, China, Malaysia. You know what I'm talking about? There's the same narrative. So we should be focusing on how to flip the script. How do you manipulate the script? How do you make that problem kneel? Because they were made to kneel before. They were brought to their knees before. You know what I mean? Watch The Matrix. How did he bring Agent Smith to his knees? And that's what the music can afford us. That's the answers that the music has for us. Like I said, we become the word. It's the same way when you read a book when you was a teenager and it looked like you was reading Sanskrit and you pick that book up later on. It's not because you got more degrees or because you understand the lexicon. You read the book and began to live out the book. Now, when you pick the book back up, you're reading, the book is reading you.
Right.
That's the power of literature.
Well, that's deep. I just think that, you know, from my own view of things, well, not necessarily my own view. One of the things that has come up lately has been the fact that some are saying that we are a one single conscious, if you will, consciousness that's somewhere projecting itself out as, you know, the billions of people that are on the planet, that somehow this whole thing isn't really real, but it's a projection of a single conscious mind. What do you say to that? I mean,
I would say what I was saying a minute ago. The music, picture the music as a code, right? Like an algorithm, like how they write codes on GitHub and whatnot, and they write codes for apps and websites. The music, the 16 bars, it's a code, right? So after you listen to that code and it's downloaded, then you live out that code. So when the music plays later on and you're saying the words, it's because you were programmed by the song to basically have that experience. So as a teenager, you might listen to a Mary J song and not understand what love is. You love the melody, you like the hook, but you did not live the lyrics. Then she programmed you to have a bad relationship, right? And to meet your own version of a Casey and JoJo. You know, got your heart broken. Now you eating bonbons and you reciting the lyrics word for word. Why? Because you got programmed to live out that reality. That's what the music is. There's brothers who went out there and became killers. You know, took bodies and whatnot because they wanted to live out the lyrics to a DMX song. Now when the song comes on, they are the song. They not just rapping the lyrics. You see them in the streets like performance art. You see the dudes walking with the Bluetooth speaker mad loud, like, hell is hot. You know what I'm saying? They living out the lyrics because the programming is the music, it's the songs. So that's a micronism to what is known as the macronism. And the macronism is the universe is programmable. That's what the red and the blue pill represent. We are hackers of the matrix. We are here to show you that this whole thing is programmable. Through what? Through intent. Through what else? Through word. And through what else? Through passion. And what else? Through enthusiasm. That is the mixtures. Those are the pillars of creation. That's how you get things popping in this realm. Okay? You put passion behind it. You are enthusiastic about what you do. Because I don't know too many people that can manifest and they're not enthusiastic about what they're putting their willpower, their intention, and their energy into. And you speak things into existence. That's what the rappers show you. That's what actors and actresses, that's what the politicians, that's what life shows you. That a thought forms and then you speak it into existence. But technology is mental first, right? Where does your thoughts come from? People are like, yo, technology is more advanced than mine. What are you talking about? How that technology is more advanced than mine? Okay, so somebody just woke up and picked up some metal and just threw it at the wall, and it created a microwave. It created a sewing machine. It created a laptop. No, somebody, when you look at any of the blueprints of any technology, there's a blueprint that precedes it. And where did that blueprint come from? That blueprint had to come from mental technology. So man is mind, all is mind. Everything that was created, the concept of Kabbalah is the fact that the great all, the omnipotent, omnipresent, it wanted to experience itself. So what did it do? It negated itself. It created the black dot. What did the black dot do? The black dot replicated itself. After the replication comes multiple replications. Then you have reality formed. And of course, you have the tree of life. And this is considered to be the bottom of the pole, the bottom, the base chakra, the red chakra, the Malkuth, the roots, the dirt, the ground gravel. That's where we're at right now. We're in the soot, right? We're in a fertile soil of something that is higher, that has multiple planes. Henceforth, when I spoke about planet earlier, I didn't say planet, I said plane, because we're on a plane. We're on a plane of existence. And there's multiple different planes of existence. And when you experiment with plant medicine and other forms of defocalizing, you would be able to find that out.
Yeah, that's interesting that they're getting ready to put out another, I understand, version of Avatar, and that's supposed to be again, they say Avatar is us. We at one time we were the blue people and whatever, and we were the people of the land, and we were one with Gaia and all that is. So I think one of the things I've noticed, though, with all that's going on and all the new things that are coming up, it seems to me, have you noticed that many of the usual so-called stars are absent from a lot of the new stuff that they're doing? Whatever little things that they're putting out, they have a whole different, like a lower, I don't want to call people lower, a different cadre of folk that are doing this, which to me begs the question if some of the things that have been said about some of the people no longer having freedom for various and sundry reasons might be true.
I would say there's change. Oh, go ahead, Blue.
There's a possibility, to that those people's services have been used and utilized and then no longer needed. You know what I'm saying? And there's also this concept about new energy needed for that particular that priesthood period. I don't think that Hollywood has legs at all. I think that Hollywood died with Harvey Weinstein, and
really,
until they show us otherwise, we shouldn't buy into what they're saying. The only way that they were able to give it a shot in the arm is by utilizing Denzel's son. And, Hollywood is still not standing up for itself. The movie Tenet, the star actor was Denzel's son.
Oh, okay.
And that was their first smash post-COVID.
That was their first smash post-COVID. So, like I said, if you look, you can see melanated people carrying everything from TV shows to Hollywood to all of that. They're going to tell you that they got a lot of plans for a lot of things.
Yeah, because if Tyler Perry is a billionaire, then how much is the people behind him?
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna get into that because that's not really the conversation. The conversation is that Hollywood is dead. Hollywood burnt a while ago, and we don't see. We did a whole year without seeing what the strength of Hollywood is, but we still are competing against the residual spells that those movies still represent. You know what I'm saying? We still dealing with it's like an oil spill. You still got to deal with the cleanup after that.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
We still dealing with the the BP oil spill from what Hollywood represents and the stain that it has on the mind of our people about how they could see themselves. Because once again, this goes back to seeing ourselves. And one of the most powerful obstructions to us seeing ourselves this year is media, the tell-eye vision, that
Right.
one-eye monster. Forget
Right.
Hollywood. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
TV, the mainstream news,
That has
they the
become,
main culprit.
yeah, that has become the
Shit, that's
the
sorcery.
yeah, that's yeah. And I have to just say this. I'm experiencing some technical difficulties with this. I'm stuck, so I can't scroll up and see your comments. I can't put any comments down. So if you all think I'm ignoring you, I just can't see it because I can't even change the banner. You know, I change the banners as they roll, and for some, this has never happened. I've had some other issues happen over the past 5 months or so, but never have I never been able to move stuff. So we must be having some powerful energy coming forth. But you know, I want you all, if you can hear me, and I know you can, to like and to, you know, especially that, press that like and also share, let folks know that we are on, even though we're having some difficulties. And I'm glad if we're stuck on police support house and railway getting mines. I'm going to be stuck anywhere, but it won't let me scroll up and down and see any more comments. So that's why I'm not commenting on your comments. But the fact of the matter is, there are so many things happening that have happened for so long behind the scenes that we have not been, we're not aware of, that we were naive to. We were naive. We had our stars, if you will, we were fans or fanatics for folks that in reality behind the scenes were more messed up than we, you know, we thought, you know, we were envying and idolizing folks that really should have been laying on our couch and having us to give them, you know, a good listen to and a talk to. So in 2020 and the fact that we are seeing things clear now, what do you see on the other side of this event, so to speak, from a standpoint of you spoke of religion earlier, but what do you see on the other side of this? Because truly there's another side to this. I'm not one of the ones that says it's going to stay like this, because I can make it better, I can make it change for me. But on a collective, what do you see on the flip side of what we're going through? How do we come out of this? Are we still in mask, or do we rise up in mass and revolt against the things that
Um,
are going on?
Hold on.
Again, you know, I feel that what we're experiencing is a byproduct of where we're at, what we've been allowing. Um, it's just a direct reflection of our status and nature as a people on the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
So I don't think that any of that changes until something radical and drastic changes in the hearts and the minds of the people. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Um, yeah, like case in point, you know, voting out Donald Trump does not vote out white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So when we realize that the things that make us uncomfortable, we are no longer willing to put band-aids on those things, but actually deal with them
mm-hmm,
and roll our sleeves up and be uncomfortable long enough to be comfortable for the rest of your life, if that makes any sense, right? When people commit themselves to doing the work, you dig what I'm saying? Because the work's supposed to be done at home. The work's supposed to be done at home. The work's supposed to be done virtually. You feel me?
mm-hmm,
So all of these opportunities that the universe has given us, right, to embrace change, because we have to change. We are in a new decade, ushering in an entirely new energy, a whole new trajectory. And we can't continue with this excess weight that we have on us. And the weight that we have is the excuses. We make more excuses for our tormentor, for this adversary, for this oppressor. We make more excuses Their mama was willing to make for, daddy that never was showing up and shit like that. We make so much excuses for this person, this quote unquote man, that, there's just things that we need to get over and let go of. And it's like, when are we willing to bet on us? When are we willing to vote on us? When are we willing to close camp long enough to be like, yo, what you got, man? Put that on the table. Let's see, you know what I'm saying? Like, empty your pockets. Remember when you have to scrap up change to go and get some you had to go and get some Wonder Bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, I only got enough for bread and mayonnaise. You're gonna have to make something happen. Like, when are we gonna collectively do that as a people to see what we could come up with? And because the absence of that shows fear. You know what I'm saying? You don't trust yourself. You're not willing. You don't have no faith. And I'm gonna tell you something. Doing this whole Kundalini workshop, it really helped me look clinically towards certain things that we have to look to see who we are and where we're at as a people. Now, we are the root people of the planet, right? We are melanated people. We're the root people of the planet. But take us in, for instance, in this particular country, foundation, which is root chakra energy, foundation, right, is tied in to trust, and trust is tied into faith. So what that means is that you can't have a concept of God if you don't have a concept of country, because they go hand in hand, right? Because the most ancient thing that we've ever dealt with, right, is agriculture. The word culture is in agriculture for a reason. Food and culture are synonymous for a reason. And the reason that people got closer to God, quote unquote, when they dealt with their land is because they had to have faith in this particular being or this particular entity, because that particular entity was responsible for giving them grace and favor to make sure that their crops flourished season to season. So you cannot be disconnected from God or the land when you were agriculturist, because it went hand in hand. The minute that we stopped dealing with agriculture and the minute that we moved to cities and became industrious is when we lost God, and we lost our connection to God and country. And we've been just wallowing in the wind ever since. You know what I'm saying? And we have allowed the digital aspect of those things to come. And we have created all of these, inferior, ulterior altars, if you will, these graven images, these concepts, these ideas that we're entertaining. The American gods, the fact that we are rivaled now by these digital aspects of what God represents in this realm. We don't have no connection to the land, to the food, and henceforth to a living God.
Yeah. Wow.
So I look at this as, judgment. That's what I look at this as. And I don't think no mass or none of that all of that stuff is just symbolism, right? And the mass is just us hiding something. You know what I'm saying? The mass is dealing with the whole aspects of, you know, Paul on his pathway to Damascus, to Damascus, it dealt with transformation, right? Paul had to transform himself from Saul to Paul on the road to Damascus. You know what I'm saying? To say that what? I'm no longer going to kill these Christians with hate, but I'm going to convert them with kindness and through a testimony that transformation is possible through the love of Christ. Now, how we interpret that is going to be different than how it has been traditionally taught. But what we're speaking of is, the higher principles, these higher concepts, you know what I'm saying? If we just strip it down and we just say, shit, well, what does love look like to you? What does it sound like to you? And self-love first and foremost, because you have to get your own personal constitution in alignment, right? You have to attend to your own church before you can go out and deal with the flocks of the masses and other people's. And we're just church and temple, all of these are synonymous slogans, just dealing with your body, your personal space, your home, your family, your community. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, what you're
So
saying is, you know, the old saying of sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep
look,
around
like,
mine. You got
yeah,
to, yeah, or you know,
how
whatever they say, charity begins at home. Everything starts.
how long could a people continue to be so wayward and move so far away from center point before there's any, resounding ramifications? And we could see it in nature. We could see it in people's personal homes. We could see it in nations. You know what I'm saying? We could see it in the galactic turmoil that they are uncovering. You feel me? Everything is in a state of chaos now. Rightfully so. You know?
Yeah. And to answer your question, with all of that being said and with all of that being true, we are still in a time of a renaissance. We are still in a time where the changing of the guard is going to take place. We saw that during the COVID crisis. The entertainers and the stars fell. They lost their vigor. They lost their quote unquote luster. They're lackluster now.
Yeah, the star luster,
The star
right?
luster.
We found out that what? They just like that book was talking about, there are lesser lights,
Right.
right? These
Luster.
people ruled utilizing a satanic tactic called glamour, right? The
Right.
manipulation. Because listen, what is the whole Luciferian thing about? Is the Luciferians is just telling you we know how to utilize light in a way in which you don't, because y'all are scared of the dark. That's what your religion taught you. So Luciferians is like, oh, we're into the manipulation of light. That's why you'll find them doing craft work in all of these industries. They they deal with light, right? They deal
The
with light, the
lighting. Yeah.
manipulation of light, the lighting in the studios.
Right.
Once they took those stars out of the studio lighting, you were able to see them for who they are, and none of them had luster. None
Now,
of them were able to shine without artificial light.
facts.
You understand?
You're right. You're right. That is true. And like I said, my observation has been that not only has their light going out, that many of them are just not visible. And like you said, the media aspect of movies or whatever is coming forth because the actors are now behind desks reporting news.
Look,
That
I'm
you
sorry,
know.
I'm gonna cut you off. Kanye West did a data dump a few days ago, and he revealed through putting himself on the cross and showing his contracts the level of bondage and the level of control, the level of manipulation, and the level of slavery that we're dealing with these fake stars, these dwindling stars. He showed the paperwork.
Wow, I
You
didn't
can't
see
get
that.
around it. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure your audience, either if they have not seen it, they can Google it, but go pull up Kanye West contracts. He put 12 contracts up. Most of them were for Sony, and all of them basically showed you that he is completely owned and controlled and bought for because he's in debt to multiple corporations, billion dollar corporations, to go all the way to the top of what people call, their adversaries. If they want to identify these corporate entities as, the Illuminati or whatever name they give it to them, Universal is not that far away from, the Illuminati roll call. You know what I'm talking about? Like Sony and Seagrams and whatnot, these multinational conglomerates with multiple shareholders, So the Tekashi 6ix9ine is damn near all of those artists who were doing the CB4 act. They were not gangsters. They were manipulating, other people's story. They put tough people around them, or ignorant people around them for that matter, who have anger issues to project a level of fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fear. People pay to do what? To inflict fear amongst other people around them. They will pay security. They will pay the gang members to be around them. They will pay what they call the shooters to do what? To inflict a level of fear, not love. They don't hire women. They don't hire spiritualists. They don't hire healers. They don't hire the teachers and the scholars to speak their name before they get out the car or speak good of them. You know how they have press release, like Blue Pill said, to lie to you. That was Edward Bernays' creation. They changed the Office of Propaganda to Public Relations. So whenever you get a PR person or whenever you get in, because every single athlete, artist, because they're in the industry that's run and controlled by the same type of wizards in, you know, jinn, and these people who are about manipulation through illusion. These are the illusionary ones. These are the Luciferian ones. These are the ones who manipulate reality through false light. So the PR person, where's our PR person? Why does it not? Where's the queens that are talking favorably in your favor before you pop out? So before you even pull up somewhere, they know who you are. Where's your apostles at? We don't got that, but we got security and we got shooters. We got lawyers. We have people to inflict fear because the people don't want to be loved. They want to be feared in this backward society. So that's what you're dealing with. Love is overrated. To them, love is overrated. Remember, we live in an emo, you know, sad, niggas on a sad diet, so everybody's sad. They're emotionally unstable. They're emo, you know. They not, you know, they in love has been Romanized. It's Roman antics. They're giving agape love.
Wow.
To each other and calling that love. They're carrying on and utilizing Roman dominating sexual deviancy and labeling it love. No, that's lust. That's the king's disease. That's part of the four evils. Envy, right? All of the music that's being financed and bankrolled by these multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. What artists are they signing? What singles are they putting out? What videos are they bankrolling and financing? Videos that promote jealousy, envy, lust, and greed. I got it and you don't. How many rappers are coming up with clever ways to say that I slept with your girl and I'm sending her back to you, right? You're coveting another man's wife. You have to be jealous of another man and envious of what he has to sleep with it. Any real man will respect another man and be like, I would never, why would I want what you have? You know what I mean? Congratulations to you. You know what I'm talking about? I'm working on my main thing. What I got. I don't want what, you know, I don't find no credit and I don't get no points for that. That's yours. You know, or not yours like you own someone, but you're in a union with someone specifically. But the music tells you that you're not cool unless you sleep with if you could knock another man's girl. Then they say that to sell your body or to manipulate your temple for fiat, right? That's lust. Because satisfy your sexual urges that we all have. Because what? Because of Edward Bernays, all of the advertising is marketing to your lower self. So a woman in a bikini is selling you a beer, right? So after you buy the beer, now you want the bikini. So people are succumbing to their lower desires. It's been designed by nature. People's minds on a daily basis cannot think straight because they are being bombarded with the four evils. Lust.
Inundated.
Drowned.
Look, now, you know something I observed?
King's disease.
Yeah. Every video Michael Jackson had, he was booking somebody's girl. So we could probably blame this on the King of Pop.
Wow.
Look, remember the time Rock My World,
Bad.
Liberian Girl, yo,
Beat It.
all his, look, Bad. All of his joints, he was
He's
booked
booking.
in so many shows.
What are you doing?
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Another. How about video games? What about Grand Theft Auto and what it has done to our young people who came up in that era?
All right. So demoralization, desensitization, and a level of blurring the line between REEL and REAL. The fact that the new drone pilots are bombing villages of innocent children, women, and men. But from the way that they see it, where they're at in a simulation game, they're playing Call of Duty. They have no idea the level of carnage that they're creating because they've been able to synthesize the real world with the virtual world. So the onslaught of the Oculus Rift. Remember, the children have not been hit with virtual yet. They're addicted to 2D video games. They're addicted to Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto was the highest selling, Grand Theft Auto 5 was the highest selling entertainment title of all time. It sold more than any music that ever came out. It sold more than any movie that dropped. It sold more than any other video game. That holds the record as the most highest grossing entertainment title of all time. It made $5 billion in a short amount of time. What was Grand Theft Auto doing on a programming level? Because everything is programming. What is it? It was dehumanizing. It was desensitizing. So the children who play Call of Duty we used to play Duck Hunt. Me and Blue Pill. We used to play Duck Hunt. We used to have the gun that you point at the screen and whatnot. We were dealing with low level weaponry. There's 2-year-olds that know how to utilize an AR-15. They know how to carry, and through playing Call of Duty, Fortnite, they know this. They know the logistics of military weapons. Now, when the young gang members and when the boys in the hood go to war now, they don't go to war with handguns. They go to war with M16s. They go to war with video game weapons. They got rocket launchers in the hood, AKs, M16s. They coming out with bayonets on you.
No.
Right? So the children, the drill scene, there's a scene out there with the hip hop called the drill scene. It was made famous in 2012 by Chief Keef and all of them out of Chicago. They're drilling in Ireland now. They're drilling in Australia, South Africa, Brooklyn drill. That's Pop Smoke. That's the Woos versus the Chos. These are 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, and he was 20, 21, 23, 24-year-olds. Thrill killing each other for over the, and making songs about it, right? Thrill killing. I'm talking about popping Xannies, popping perks, getting on them pills, and going out and spraying the block, spinning the block, killing everything that they see. Friends, you see the Chicago shot count. You see what's going on. They'll spray the whole park if they got beef with one of you, and they not spraying it with handguns. They're spraying it with M16. 100. They looking like NFAC, the militia. You see the guns that they carrying? That's what they got in the hood right now in Louisiana, out there in Chicago and Memphis. Your mic was muted in Compton and Brooklyn. So what are the video games doing? The video games are programming the children, and then the Europeans who are being indoctrinated, they take that and they do it. They do lone. Nobody ever wanted to do the history of all of the lone gunmen. What's their video game usage? Are they subscribed to Sony PlayStation.com? Give me the data. How long, what games were they playing? They don't want to do that because the lobby is so strong and whatnot. They're protecting all of the research and all of the case studies.
Because they do identify. There's 3 things that they all have in common, or the majority of them. They either ex-military, they have, prescription, You know what I'm saying? They have a medical history and they are gamers. You feel me? But they never tell you what game they play, how long they play it. But if somebody shoot a cop and they got some Tupac in the car, they be like, yeah, you know, he had it on his MySpace. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just saying they immediately make the association. I'm talking about even now. They'll be like, yeah, he had it on the MySpace. They'll do an investigation all the way back to '06 to tie somebody into a rapper. But why don't you speak about, you know, how the video games are orientating the minds of the youth who you say have impressionable minds? You keep telling me that, but the video games keep getting more violent. But then you talk about gun laws and you talk about gun lobbies and stuff like that. But you know, nobody ever thought that this stuff is having an indelible effect on the mind of children. And like the brother said, they literally have military grade weapons in these streets right now as we speak.
And how are they getting them?
You know, this is America.
Like they get everything else in America.
Yeah.
From the plug.
Yeah, I was told by a brother from Khalifa territory that there was a time when I think it was Khalifa. Was it? It may have, no. This one was Chicago. This was Shy. They were trains left. You know, like the cars come in and left on the track for the longest time. And when they finally went in them and they were open, there were cache of guns. Like they'd be left in alleys.
I saw that with my own eyes in Brooklyn, New York, in the '90s, in East New York, which is one of the worst neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? They had a truck left with 9mm millimeters and 380s. I remember that vividly. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the carnage that came from it because I remember dudes immediately getting locked up for shootings that weekend.
Right.
So those things happen. Yeah, granted, you know, but there's a business to this. There's a trade. Like they didn't just dump those fireworks off. They had military grade fireworks this entire year. Those were business transactions. Money was being exchanged. Right? There's people that are with the shits enough that they're gonna provide, they're gonna put the budget up and make it happen. Those things are selling in the street. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not hard to come by.
Well, that's the same thing with, you know, when the riots broke out. I mean, in Philadelphia, I was told that there were places where loads of bricks were set up on the street like that evening. That, you know,
they did all that.
Locks.
I seen that in Atlanta too.
Locks were cut off of the, you know, like the stores that had the pull down security fences. The bolts were cut. They were cut so that people could loot and so forth. Bricks there was no construction around, but yet piles of bricks, new bricks, were left there to incite or to support what it was that they were trying to get done.
It's all a game, you know. It's all an exercise. The documentary Social Dilemma shows you that all they do is run exercises. They do predictive programs, models. There's model programs. There's a digital twin of me and my brother out there in the world right now. They could run all kind of different models on us to see how we will react. And they do that to our community, and they've done that to our people on many occasions. And they so wicked with it, they know how to monetize that. So when they manipulate Black people and push their buttons and make them reactionary and whatnot, and you get on Facebook and Twitter and you start going, Black Twitter starts flaming up and everything. They've even made it to where they can make money off of that right there. That's a bag for them. Then the stock market starts booming. They start making more money. Then the police get paid over time. They start making more money. Then the lawyers and whatnot and all of these legal representatives, they start making more money. So keep in mind, there's something called the woke industry or woke capitalism. And all of this stuff this is all business plans. It's all been, it's like playing chess. They figured out so many different moves and whatnot. And like they've been doing it. If it's a revolution, it means it's going backwards. They've been doing this for a long time. They figured it out. They have it checkmated 4 and 5 times. And, you know, as we could see moving forward, a lot of stuff that took place this summer was a waste of time, a waste of energy. It was a manipulative, you know, exercise in a drill. Because remember, with the Bill Gates event 201, you know, George Floyd was supposed to happen. They were talking about racial unrest. They scripted out the whole 2020. If you really look at it, this whole thing is written out like a 4 different stages. That's why they were calling it phase 1.
Yeah,
phase 2.
this why I said that, you know, there is no more Hollywood. They created that, right?
This
Harvey
Hollywood.
Weinstein got locked up, and the whole world became a movie stage. Those actors that you're talking about, you don't see them no more because we all are the actors now.
Through
The
social
whole
media
world is the movie script.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We are in a reality show called Trump. You know what I'm saying? We in that reality show. Are you serious?
The Apprentice goes to Washington.
We are in the Apprentice. We in that reality show. The whole world is now part of the Hollywood movie set, because Hollywood, as we know it, it has burned, and you know, its gatekeepers are no longer there. So now everybody's in it.
Are the fires in California somehow symbolic of the burning down or the destruction of Holly? I call it Hollyweird, but
I mean,
you do or you don't?
It's indicative of the destruction and the burning of a lot of things. 1 million acres, they call it a giga. Yeah, 1 million acres just burnt. This is the first in California's history that they got up to 1 million acres in a year. So 1 million acres this year has burnt in California. Even the symbolism of them continuously showing red skies in San Francisco, of all places, that's biblical, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is San Francisco synonymous with?
Sodom.
All right then. Why that voice? Why that place in particular? Out of everywhere else in California that's burning, they keep showing you San Francisco. They're not showing you Oakland or other parts of the Bay. San Francisco. That's not even where the forest is at.
No.
But they keep showing you red skies in San Francisco. They keep showing you that aspect of Rome burning. They keep showing you Hollywood's burning. You know what I'm saying? Queen Khalifa or California, period. You know, that is indicative to, there's a prophecy that the Hopi Indians have about the red and the blue star Kachina.
Yes.
And that's tied into the Mayan prophecies, of which this entire landmass is included, right? Ancient and Mexican, America, North, Central, and South. You know, the red star Kachina is the purifier. The purification takes place through fire. That's why I'm like, it's cool to move away from the Bible, but you don't throw it out. Because there's so much in it that is relative to what we're seeing right now, that I invite you to go and read it with new eyes, right? And have an appreciation for how the word speaks to you, not hearing somebody else speak through the word. Have an appreciation for how the word now speaks to you. Go into that Bible and read it with 20/20 eyes. You know what I'm saying? And see what you're able to extract from that quote unquote revelation. That book has come to life. Those pages are alive. You know what I'm saying? That testament is living. And yeah, we are in very transformational times. You know, and people have a lot of personal decisions to make for themselves and for their families about the continuity of their bloodlines into the future. Everybody's not gonna make it. I'm sure we keep hearing that. But what does that even mean? You know what I'm saying? Um, you want to preserve your mind more so than anything. Yeah, your body might make it through it, but what's the use of your body making through it and your mind is fractured? right? I'd rather my mind be intact and I sacrifice my body so my mind could show up in another lifetime still intact, ready to, catch up where we left off. The mind is so important to protect right now because all of these theatrics, they coming for your mind. Biden said what? He said we at war for the soul of this nation. Huh?
And he in line.
A rapist said that. So we in some weird places. Like, but I mean, America is gleefully, what I'm saying, in judgment. Shit. Where else would we want it to be? People want to prolong the pain. People want to prolong their punishment. People want to prolong the purgatory. It's like no, no, no. Like let's call a spade, and let this thing go through its transformation. You feel me? Like our children don't deserve this, or do they? You know, we all contracted to come in here to be here. You feel me? We contracted to come here to be here. You know what I'm saying? And participate. However, we do end up participating. You know what I mean? I have a tendency to think more of us than what I'm seeing us, produce and put out into the world. And these decisions that we have to make, thankfully, is on us, right? We get to self-determine how we show up in the future. Because truth be told, if you really take personal stock, and I mean, everybody has not alleviated themselves from all things that represent Caesar. But for those who have been strong enough to give back to Caesar what is his, then we ready to do for self and do us. And we know that there's really nothing that we rely upon from the quote unquote man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have built up the confidence to do for self 100%, where we like, look, we can create our own happiness. We give ourselves permission to find peace. You understand? And that's what it's gonna take. You have to get into the knowledge of this thing where you can finally, you know, travel them final rungs up the ladder so you can stand on top of the mountain in that promised land and you can beat your chest and all of that shit is great. But when it comes back to it, it's like, yo, I give myself permission to enjoy this piece and to prolong it on my own terms. You know what I'm saying? I want to be far away from the chaos. You know, let these people have this thing. Let them try to defend this. We should be focusing more on building out our paradise. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
protecting that peace with our lives, because our babies deserve that. That's what I feel. These star seeds that I'm looking at, these babies that's coming into this world, I feel that they deserve a prolonged period of peace. That for those that their brains are not that scrambled and they just got some DNA that needs some tweaking, they got a better chance at this
Yeah,
thing than we do. Because some of us are
and
terminal in terms of the goddamn illness
right,
we got to overcome.
and we should be consciously getting them out of surroundings where they're going to be exposed to things that they can't unsee, where they're going to be exposed to black people with mental health, where they're going to be exposed to the fall of the race. We need to take the star seeds and the indigos and the ones who are innocent and take them and put them on an island somewhere. Let's go ahead and get us some island. Let's get us in a state somewhere. Let's go to the tropics. Let's go to the mountains. Let's go on some land and just build it out. And then if any of us want to go into the metropolis or back into Sodom and Gomorrah and see what we need to see and absorb it, we could do that. But these children that are coming to this planet that have bigger purposes than us, who the hell is preparing them? And where are you preparing them at? Where at? On Cardi B's channel? Where? Or on TikTok? Where they being prepared at? Because we're living in a world of speculation in this community. You got to speculate that things are taking place. Nobody can point you to the direct. They can't show you anything. directly. It's all speculatory. It's not. It's nothing is solid. Nobody can say, well, at 1 o'clock right here in this sovereign state or in this swatch of land that we purchased and we named and we did the paperwork for and we got rights on, this is taking place. And if you want to witness it, you could tap in. It's behind a paywall, though. It's not free because it's not public. Because the transformation and the growth that we need to take place is all going to be in private. We're not doing this in public anymore. Why? The public is where the profane exists. The public is where the masses is. The public is the public is where Gomorrah and Sodom is. The public is poverty, is broke. It's poisonous. It's a cesspool. It's a septic tank. That's what the public is. So if we want to survive, we got to become private citizens. We got to get out of the limelight. We got to get out of the fake light. We got to get off the grid. We got to get away from Caesar. Because like Blue Pill said, I don't believe a lot of people. They live in a double consciousness. They want to be Du Bois and Garvey at the same time. And I mean, you might be able to be that in this quantum existence. But why don't we take the best traits out of both of them and carve out a new entity or a new reality? You know what I mean? W.E.B. Garvey. You know, like red and blue creates purple. So the new matrix is a new reality of the purple pill versus the red and blue pill. That was so binary. The new reality is the purple pill. It has all of the existences in its one pill. So in order for us to experience new realities, to have new experiences, we collectively have to do something different. We have to do something new. We have to put together all of the things that work for us and throw out the things that did not work for us, add on 1 or 2 more ingredients, and we're going to find ourselves in a different place.
I agree. Particularly, I was talking to my son today regarding my grandson and school and how school is going. And my son was telling me how, it took a couple of hours of foolishness. And what came to mind maybe a few days ago was that perhaps the educational system as Gates and Rockefeller created it has outlived its purpose, and they really don't give two shits whether or not the children get that anymore, because they have artificial intelligence and they have all kinds of other technology that can do the things that they were in the past training or educating us to do as children. And so now they're going to let this pandemic kind of do away with, phase it out. But then what are we have a responsibility to, like you said, our children, to train up the children in the way that they should go, because we know for a fact that in the first 7 years of a child's life, that's when they're in that state. I'm not sure whether it's theta state or whatever, and they're taking in.
They are programming their subconscious. The first 7 years.
Yeah. So the subconscious,
and that's the most pivotal years, and we need to be training them and teaching them up, because, like you said, these people already know the future is not going to be employees. It's not going to be, our children working factory jobs and none of that stupid shit. Like, it's all going automated, so they don't care no more. They don't need you.
No, they don't.
And if you don't find a purpose for yourself, you're gonna be left out there in the cold, holding, what I'm saying, a bag of coal.
Right.
So we need to know better, what I'm saying, and only by what we do shows what we know. So yeah, school is dead. Like, you need to be teaching them children a trade. You need to be teaching them their own history. You need to be teaching them how to shoot and clean a gun. You need to be showing them how to build something. You know what I'm saying? You need to be showing them the digital realm. They need to be enrolled in Brother Ben's class, taking digital real estate. They need to be having the post-Trump pack and figuring out how to take advantage of these 200 plus economical keys that will put them in line for prosperity without being up in front of the Europeans' face. Right? Which is a beautiful thing. right? The situation has afforded us everything we've been asking for. Just like last year when I said, look, the the um the legalization of hemp has given quote unquote sovereigns everything that they've been talking about for over 20 years. Everything that the Moors was talking about, the legalization of hemp puts you in position to do for self, right? To become totally autonomous. Now you have a plant that has been criminalized, just like the melanated body, that just found its freedom coincidingly the same year that the slavery or the bondage of melanated people has expired, right? That plant gives you 25,000 industrial uses. It will give you food, clothing, and shelter. You can close the wealth gap in underneath 5 years, right? If you knew what you was doing with the hemp. So what better time to be an FBA or an ADOS, an Aboriginal indigenous to this land? Because then that means that you know agriculture. That means that what? You can now have a renewed connection in the land, which will give you a renewed connection with your Godhead, because you ain't going to be putting your hands in the dirt and not be, secretly at night on your knees praying to whoever you pray to be like, please, I need this rain to come through. I need it to not be drought season. I need the sun to shine come spring and summertime, right? I need this harvest. I need to eat, right? All of these things. I mean, just look at the things that we have done in the last 50 or 60 years that has taken us out of our regalness, right? Because you can't tell me 1860, when we came out of slavery, we came out of that upright. We held public office. We was clean. We established our economies. We was teaching ourselves all sorts of trades. How the hell they have 30 millionaires in Black Wall Street? And them people came, according to what the story tells us, they was barefoot slaves on the Trail of Tears that came from Mississippi that were slaves of the Cherokee, which was a lie, right? And they say they come into that area. If these people did not have the benefit of the top tier schooling in the country, how did they become millionaire doctors, lawyers? They own jitney service, planes. How did they do that? How did they do that? Right? This is who you are. This is what you come from. How did those people, if you got jerked out of 100 patents, God damn it, how did they, melanated people can't find their way to the patent office right now and they got smartphones. How the hell did they do that? How did they get gypped out of 100 inventions and still have 100 plus to speak of? Huh? Coming straight up out of slavery. What type of minds are we talking about? This is who you are. We making excuses for ourselves. Somebody sold us a lie and we cashed it with interest. You understand? We need to get up out of our way, right? And with our way means the old way, the entangled way, the us that was entangled with the falsehood. Teach these babies who they are, right? Teach them about these inventors. Teach them our glorious history right here in America. Stop confusing them with 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 years ago. Teach them melanated Aboriginal history right here. Okay? Let them have a love and appreciation for the Americas. Teach them about the Olmecs. Let's take them on field trips to these temples. Let them see these magnanimous structures. You understand? We wouldn't be having these same conversations 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Well, Reconstruction, we know, was a time of when they were doing exactly what the word says, reconstructing and creating, as I said, his Tory, which means his, and Tory means, robber, brigand, lie. So his lies were being used in reconstructing our reality. And so, I mean, I hear what you're saying with regard to, when we allegedly came out of slavery, but I would submit that many of us, our ancestors were never in slavery and were on this landmass because they had traveled here, when they, before the Pangea, and we were here. Right. And yes, I give big ups to the brother Karimio, who is putting a lot of hours and hours of research out there with regard to the so-called Indians and the so-called slave tribe, the reverse slave trade, the fact that we were exported. Yeah. So
some impressive information.
right, we need
And
to.
yeah, we were taught about the mid-Atlantic slave trade from the south to the north. You know what I'm saying? From
Absolutely.
South Carolina to the New England. And granted, all of that, like I said, you know, we teach our children that version of history, and that's all they know first. You know, again, we will be having a different conversation because the optics will be, they'll be able to see themselves differently. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we need schools. There is, there's one I know, Morse online Morse school for children, but there needs to be schools, and groups of parents need to come together and find those who need something to do, who can teach and oversee and bring children together, so that even if it's online, so they can have a regular time of erudite training, and that's what they need. Erudition rather. And they don't need to be trained like animals. Because I said, the regular so-called school system, as we know, the education system is done for, and you see it in, part-time in school, part-time home. They don't care what you're doing. Just, sitting in front of a computer for a couple hours. They've been pushing them through for a long time. Now this is the last bastion of what we will so-called, because they have no need for, like we said, for those children anymore. So we have the responsibility. I agree with you. The responsibility and the onus is on us to train up our own children, or give our own children, pass that knowledge on, and to bring out, because some of these children have more in them than their parents do, because they've come here as champions. And so I get it that sometimes a parent might say, I don't feel like I have the qualification and so forth, but there's someone in our community that is willing to help nurture that along. And the worst thing a parent can do with a child is to shut them down when they shut down their creativity, shut down their inquisitiveness, shut down their protests about things that they know for a fact, because of the high level of, like you talked about, the indigo children and the various, chilled star seeds, that what they've come in here already activated. So they already know this is BS. They don't want to deal with the BS. They just come like, I come to do something. And if you want to shut me down, I'm going to shut you out. And so we have to learn how. You may not understand it, but let those children have the benefit of living out their lives. Unlike most of us who are parents, when we came up, our parents pretty much directed us. They wanted us to be the doctor or the lawyer that they never were, or the basketball player or something that they never were. It is time out for that. It's time to allow these beings, who are very ancient beings, who've come in to do the work of restoring and rescuing, if you will, us from ourselves. You agree?
I agree 100%. I'm currently in Atlanta, and I have a plan that I've put together. I'm about 80% done with it, and what it is basically addressing the humongous void that we have in the now, the present, right now. The fact that homeschooling of the children, we don't have a curriculum. We don't have a house full of melanated Moorish teachers that are available to where if I wanted to take my child out of school and say I'm going to sign up to an online academy, I don't know where there's a group of melanated teachers who are dedicated to sit there and teach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where to find, a group of metaphysical, grade school teachers. I know where Dr. Valentine is with his academy, but I don't know where a group of metaphysical grade school teachers is, where they could teach children about, meditation, spirituality, the occult, esoteric. Because Disney is doing it without anyone's permission. Nickelodeon and all of these channels, they are already rolling the ball. They are holding they're holding court on wizard, on sorcery.
On sorcery and wizardry 101. They got that in these babies from 2 and 3 and up. So once again, where are our rivals? We can teach them sacred geometry. We can engage them through the shapes and the colors.
Right.
We could do it through blocks, circle blocks and triangles. You feel me? And start from there. I mean, there's so much that can be done. Where are the doers?
Who's teaching the star seeds how to 3D print? Like, which one of the organizations or the thought leaders or the teachers or the people who say that they got resources, where's the facilities that are teaching children anything after school? Anything.
Right.
How to play a flute, how to tie a shoe, how to design a t-shirt, how to walk straight, how to talk, how to plant a seed. What organization is on the forefront of taking? I'm not tasking them for dealing with the children during 8 a.m. to 3 or 4 p.m. I'm saying, what about from 4 to 6? Who? If you care. Or who has went to a quiet town like Atlanta? And I say quiet town because it's not high in the gentrification range. Meaning that if you came to a town like Atlanta with $5,000, you could get a brick and mortar. You could get your name on a lease with a key. You get the key with a lease to a brick and mortar that day, right? So you could put your name on the front of a business and be a business owner. So the rate of a startup business in Atlanta is not the same as New York. So in places like Texas, Atlanta, Florida, the Carolinas, and all places where conscious people domicile, where is their after school program where they're teaching any of these children that we're giving birth to anything about themselves?
You could teach them how to wrap copper, and they would show up in droves right now.
Because they love.
You could teach them how to wrap copper. You could teach them Fruity Loops on the editing program.
Final Cut Pro.
Final Cut Pro. You could teach them Instagram. You could teach them how to make TikTok. There's so many ways you can engage these babies. And watch, people gonna be. We lost our babies to Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, and what are you doing to compete for these babies then? Because you got to be present and you got to be consistent. Same way that the BS is, right? Satan got to start in 5. They are dedicated, passionate, and they work 24/7. When one of them is down sleeping, the other one is showing up for the shift, and they show up early.
Word. They well oiled. They well oiled. Right?
They got their sleeves rolled up. They ready to work. They don't complain.
They are enthusiastic about what they're doing. They show like they are having fun with it. So where is the counter? I'm not convinced that anybody cares about anyone because I don't see what it is. Because if they did care, it was showing their actions. Where is the counter? There is no counter. So therefore,
where is the care?
Where's the care? So therefore, the fact that we travel, I'm a navigator, I'm a true Moor. I've been in the land of flowers that they call Florida, where Moors, exist. I've been in Kentucky. I've been in Detroit. I've been in Atlanta. And things are taking place. Yes, true indeed. But the disruption, because we live in a disruption era. The disruption, meaning that I hear about you when I get off the plane. You're so disruptive that the Uber driver is talking about you. Like you could feel it in the air. Whenever you go to a hood or a black neighborhood, you don't have to ask everybody, yo, did you see this person? Did you see that person? Do you know who this person is? Have you ever heard of this person? And people are like, I never in my life. I don't know who you're talking about. The MSTA, the Moors, this, sovereign, what? No, they be like, they don't know about these things. So I'm like, where is your promotions? Where is your campaign? Why doesn't even the most enlightened people know of each other in these places? Why? Because King's disease, like I said, envy, jealousy, hate, and lust. Right? You got brothers is out here, stalking sisters with waist beads and whatnot. They not trying to help them out. They following lust. You got women out here lusting other women. and won't let other women be great. They just trying to, munch on them. You know what I'm talking about? And then I'm dead ass. They setting up whole type of movements just to entrap the same sex because they have lust demons in them. They have nefarious, and you got, it goes all the way into men with lust over little boys and whatnot, pedophiles. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Whereas the church could have been helping young men to develop, but what did they do? They destroyed them, right? They destroyed them, and they created a victim culture where the men that they victimized went out and became the victimizers.
Absolutely.
So predator culture, vampire culture is mad prevalent in the conscious community, along with the quote unquote Black community. And because the community is not, it did not set up an orientation system to deal with the trauma, to deal with the hurt, and to deal with the pain. What happened? The pain and the trauma became the calling card in the community. So now to bring people out to a lecture, you got to tell them that you're going to traumatize them. You got to speak to their pain body. So what are they dealing with? Fear. Come out because white people want to kill you. We want you to pay $40 so we could tell you why they're going to kill you, when they're going to kill you, and what to do after they kill you. And then you have other things that are dealing with debating people. We want two men to come together to tear each other up and then go wrestle, right? So because you don't have the testicular fortitude to go and bring it to your known enemy, you'll pay to go in a room and see two scholars or two lights cancel each other out, right? Then there's people who have solutions, but because I don't worship the man that you worship, you don't want to listen to me because I'm not riding the homoerotic train, right? That's what you got. Unless I bow down to your leader, my words or what I'm doing is completely, it's almost like you have to destroy or sabotage what I'm doing. You'll never give me support in your words or in your commitment or in your actions because I don't worship who you worship. That's sickness. That's a sickness that I've been witnessing for many, many years. And I've seen great ideas and concepts become destroyed and get buried because the fact that our people are approaching this the wrong way. We're not approaching this with love. We're not approaching this with selfishness. We're not approaching this thing with sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice it all. So the little ones that I'm creating, and I'm the lives that I'm manifesting, my produce that I'm reproducing, so they don't got to go through what we're going through. They don't have to ask the same questions. Mm-hmm. We need to solve. We need to be hackers. A hacker is one who solves. Hack a problem. We need to be hackers of life. We need to be life hackers. We need to solve some of these 99 problems that seem to weigh us down. How the hell is it weighing us down when the only way that you could prove that you God is by solving the problem?
And great in times of I guess great, you could call it trauma or tough times, calls for tough people and people who are mentally tough more so than necessarily, not so much the brawn, but when you can allow your mental muscle to go to work for you and to, as they say, cogitate on what's going on. Trust and believe. I know for a fact I've slept on things and the answer was there when I awakened, because my mind never sleeps, even though my body had to shut down so I could get myself out of the way. and that's the same thing I'm assuming that happens, through meditation and those types of practices. I deal with the energy healing and so forth, but there's a discipline to it, and people have to realize that. And I say this myself though, and I'm not, there's no disrespect to the books, but there is no God greater than the one in me, than the God in me.
That's
and
right.
If people begin to look at the fact that the creator, and whatever you call him or her or it, resides within you, and if it is all powerful, all knowing, all of the sentience know that, then there is an answer. You are the answer. Matter of fact, stop looking for that answer outside of yourself. I think that's what you're saying. I think it's what you're saying to us on a level of community. Stop looking for someone outside of the melanated community to make a change for us. We've already had the period of time when we were dealing with reconstruction and illusion and all of the things that go along with it. We have a jubilee, like you said earlier. We have a time of redemption after, where all debts are canceled and our slates are wiped clean. And so it's a time for people to really, really become innovative and creative, but now do it for the right reasons and the right cause. That's what I take from, talking with you all. And you all,
Right.
again, you all are, I would assume from your age, would be considered, are you indigos, or are you, where do you all find yourselves?
Oh nah, we was born in '75, so we part of that generation.
We
So,
right before Indigo.
Right before Indigo.
Yeah, they ain't give us a name.
okay, but Dolores Cannon talked a lot. The late Dolores Cannon talked a lot about the different groups that come in at different periods to do certain.
Yeah.
And I know I had a reading from a young sister that does readings, and I forgot what kind of reading it was called, but she told me that I was a blueprint originator, and I said okay. And so she said, you're one of the ones that created the blueprint, and you came back to
That's
see
right.
how it's planning out. And that's why I was given a sort of I call myself a multi-generational approach to dealing with people, because I can deal with people much younger and I can deal with people much older. And then there are some people that I found that came in around 55 when I did 54, 55, 56, have the same type of drive, and we're kind of evergreen because we need to stick around for a while to see and to say, hey, this is the way the plan went. Let's get back to the plan. There's a plan, and we've gotten off purpose. And I think tonight, what you all both have done is to bring us back, to help to bring us back to our remembrance of what it is, or why it was we manifested in the first place, and to also be mindful of those who have come after us, that they are looking to us to provide opportunities for them to be their authentic selves, and not be pigeonholed and not be stuck in the matrix, and to realize, I'll go back to the very first thing you all said, to realize that blue pill and that red pill, red and blue together, gives you an expanded choices. It's not an either or, but
Right.
it's, what did you come to do? What you got in your wallet? Remember that commercial?
Yeah.
what you come with?
2020 represents the expansion of probability and possibility.
Right.
It has went from binary to quantum. So we would now, before we had 10% chance of winning. Now we have a 90% chance. The probabilities have expanded. The possibilities of anything taking place. The possibilities of an October surprise. The probabilities of our ancestors really doing what they said that they're going to do. It has now been increased just in 1 year, just based off of the signs of the times, just based off of the collective experience of the people, just based off of the veils that lifted, the probabilities and the possibilities. They showed you that in the Avengers with Doctor Strange, when he went through the 14 million probabilities on how he was able to save the lives of the Avengers and do what? And reverse what had happened. So in this quantum realm, where we're quantum entangled to our ancestors, they walk amongst us, they're right next to us, they are inside of us. We are in communication with the unseen, the unknown. The different realms are now layered upon each other. We're in a precarious time. Those of us who reincarnated to come back to see our blueprint and our algorithms in our course to be completed, we are in observer mode. We're manipulating things. Although we're in observer mode, we're still participating through activities and actions. But a lot of us we're observing. We have come here to guide. We have come here to observe. We're not here to stop anything. We're not here to do anything. We're here to add on to, we're here to download. We're here to receive the downloads, to share them, to be messengers, to be rules, to be the Tahootis, to write it down and chart it, to be the ledgers, and to demonstrate God in real time, because it's an action. It's a verb. You know what I'm talking about? It's a verb. So we walk in the walk and we talking it, and we're creating entities and beings that are greater than ourselves. So I'm going to leave it on this note. DNA responds to environment. Take the babies out of the concrete jungles. Take the babies out of the cities. Take the babies out of any place where they're not going to experience nature, because God is in nature. They are nectars.
Where they're not going to experience expansion.
Right. They have to go into a place where their DNA could actualize them actually being part of it, which is nature, the elements. You have to take them. That's what the COVID, that's what the disruption. That's why that's what it has afforded you. You could take your child to the islands. You could take them to Tulum. They're not in school. They're on the computer. That's the 4-hour work week. It's many things that are taking place of the positive. You now have the right to take your child out of the concrete jungle. You could take them off of the quote unquote plantation. You could take them off the grid. You are an at-home worker now. Your child is an at-home schooler. It's not, you're not relegated to your zip code. Go and experience fantasy. Go and experience paradise.
Get you an Airbnb somewhere that got Wi-Fi. And
right.
You can work from home, and they can do class from home for the few hours, and then you could go into that environment and enjoy yourself. And the classroom starts after class finishes.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right. That is that if you give them prepare them for sovereignty, prepare them from autonomy, prepare them, role play with them if need be. Right? Role play with them if need be. Have them tap into their imagination, into their Afrofuturistic mind, into their creator minds, their maker minds, and explore that, celebrate that. Parents, buy 3D printers, buy laser printers, buy the cameo silhouette, the vinyl cutters. Get into allowing them, bringing them tools into the house. Go and download Unreal Engine. Teach them how to make video games and gamification apps. Let them create concepts in their minds and bring it into the real world. Learn how to program virtual and AR. I'm telling you, I'm not here to steer you any kind of wrong way, but I want you to prepare your progeny to be great. Because if you do not give them the tools to be great within the next 5 years and that window closes, then we're going to be attending a lot of funerals, and we're going to be having to heal a lot of parents that are going to be burying their children ahead of time because they're going to get back on the hamster wheel. And the hamster wheel got barbed wire on it right now. Because remember, they took y'all off the hamster wheel during the lockdown. But when they fire that damn wheel back up, it's going to be different from the last wheel that you got off of.
I do have a question about, if you have any, before we close, those who are already sort of caught up, is there a way, like young people, they may be in their teens and they may be getting into, a lot of them are getting into, have gotten into negativity. We already talked about the video games, but also for lack of anything productive and instructive for them to do. Is there a way for teenagers who are past that 7 years, you know, they've already kind of been indoctrinated, but is the what they need alternatives if they're already being lured into the game, so to speak, and we can't just peel off, you know, finances necessarily to rival that, but is there a way that you see that our young people might be brought back out of that negative mindset and put into, you know, into a productive, more harmonious mode?
Yeah, let us be great. You know, let us be great. And for the community who can't sit with the youth, who can't sit with the hyenas, who can't sit with the lions, who can't sit with the predators, well, promote, support what we're doing and get behind us, because this is we're the front line. We're the ones that are going in when we, as the greater we become, because we're being watched, right?
Is there a link? Is there a website or a way that where you should be if people want to get behind what you're doing? And I can definitely put it down here because I know there's a link in the main. I put your links in the main body of this for the show, but I could put something up if somebody says, "Hey, yeah, I want to support what you're doing because I have teenagers," or I know I don't have teenagers, but I know I live in this society with them. So, is there a way that people can get involved?
I mean, we have different things going on. We have different brands. So I'll let Blue Pill start, and then I'll give you the brands that they could tap into.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, the brand that I represent, Gold Water, you know, that's if you
Go
got
go Go Water.
GOLDEWATER,
Uh-huh.
and you know, these are products that we have formulated to deal with the sustainability of the body. You know what I'm saying?
Is that a .com or .org or
.com, goldwater.com. Yeah, liquid gold. We have silver, sea moss, vitamin C, vitamin D. You know, and a lot of times, you know, we find that children are acting out because of, mineral deficiencies. You know what I'm saying? They might have certain things missing out of their diets that make them a little bit more prone to act out a little bit more. So, case in point, yesterday we got a testimonial from a family whose child suffers from autism, and the child is 10. This is the mother's first time hearing the child complete a whole sentence and communicate with her. I have a tendency to believe a lot of our other children are suffering from misdiagnosed ADHD, like Dr. Umar has said, and you know, societal strains on the fact that you get misdiagnosed, so there's just no communication for you to understand that you communicate different. So a lot of these children, although they do need a little bit of attention and people in their immediate circle focusing on them a little bit more, some of them are mineral deficient, so they do need to approach and deal with that. So Goldwater has a line of products that deal with all sorts of different mineral deficiencies. You know what I'm saying? Um, Outside of that, like I said, we did do the Kundalini class. We do have different webinars and lectures that we do periodically. You know what I'm saying? I more so like the hands-on approach. I like being in the audience with these children and getting to talk to them, because no two children are necessarily alike. They might have some similarities in regards to things that they into or where they come from, but I have a tendency to deal with people on a one-on-one basis, because everybody's unique in their needs, in their wants, in their outlooks, in their disposition. So, if you hear about us coming to town, make sure that you're in the building. If you're in Atlanta, you don't have no excuse, because we have regular events out here. If you're in the South, period, because if somebody be driving from 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to come see us from Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, you feel me? They pulls up. So, you know, like, it should be no distance too far for your child. I remember when I was young, shit, I wanted to travel to the Shaolin monk temple to discipline myself. I was gonna get the bald head with the three dots and all of that, just to learn meditation, just to learn discipline, just to learn how to stand on my head. I was willing to do that for myself. If there was a clear path to do it, I'd have done it. That's how much I wanted it for myself. So it's like, either one, what do these children want for themselves, or one, what do you want for your child? You know what I'm saying? You got to figure those two things out and synthesize somewhere in between how you're going to get involved with these daily activities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
So, like I said, I have multiple platforms. One of the platforms that's going to speak directly to, making sure these children are going to be supported, and they're going to, just be in a solution-based environment, is my initiative, the FACTS initiative. FACTS is an acronym for food, art, clothing, technology, and shelter. That is those are different networks, and those are different sectors that we all have our hands in. Inside of those networks are multiple entrepreneurs and professionals in the fields of horticulture, which is food, agriculture, hemp development, even those brothers and sisters that are dealing with the legalized marijuana business. That's food. Art is music, art is film, art is poetry, art is all of the authors that we have in our community that have written books. Art is the brothers that are putting murals on the wall, graffiti artists and whatnot, graphic artists, digital artists. All of these brothers and sisters, we have a sector, we have an environment, we have a community for the children, who teenagers going all the way up to young adults, going all the way up to adults. We have courses that we are going to have available for you. We're going to put you in touch with training from coaches, experts, brothers and sisters that are a part of this network that can show you the how-to. You know what I mean? We're going to show you, but you have to have a willingness to learn. You have to have a willingness to want to change. You have to have a willingness to, want to implement what you're learning, because none of the information that me or Blue Pill stands behind is information that's going to just jump off the page and change your clothes without you doing anything. This is a hands-on type of experience. But if you decide that you want to move with it, if you decide that you want to go ahead and give it a shot and give it a chance, you're going to see the magic. You're going to see the transformation. You're going to see the wisdom and the knowledge. So sign up. That's a page where you can leave your information. Sign up. Be a part of our network. Be a part of this movement. And, one network, your net worth is your network. So my network is my net worth. And I know that I'm worth trillions of dollars just based off of my network. And that's plain, that's clear to see. Stevie Wonder could see that one. So be a part of the network. And then I have the stream chasers for the parents out there and for the young ones out there going all the way. I don't care if you're 12 years old. If you want to tap into multiple income streams, Cardi B is telling you to do it. The Migos is telling you to. 21 Savage and them, they telling 8-year-olds to get to that bag. They're telling 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds to get into selling brown, selling white, selling green, selling beige. They're telling the babies to get into multiple things that will put them into multiple places of pain and purgatory, jail, the clinic, or the grave. What I'm saying is, if they could program the babies to get money, then I could program the babies to tell them you could get into Forex, you could get into healthcare, health and wellness, you could get into creating your own brands, you could get into creating jewelry, you could create into writing ebooks, audio books, video games, app development, you name it. Streamchasers.com. Sign up, because we're going to get you in touch with multiple streams. For the brothers and sisters that are still dealing with the susu and whatnot, we have a way to get into the susu market, different flowers. You want to tap into the Forex. We have a Forex program that we just signed up for the other day that we're pushing that to the family and whatnot. And that right there is going to be legendary. So we're doing a lot of things with focus. My clothing brand is kingscounty.bigcartel. If you want to get the wardrobe, henceforth on the, heavy on the war, WAR, wardrobe, heavy on the war, because we're at war in these streets. And, uniforms breed uniformity. So you want to look like you thinking. You want to look like your mind. If your mind is sovereign, and if your mind is conscious, and if you're getting back into your beautiful culture, adorn yourself with your cultural motifs. I promise you, you're gonna feel at home. You're gonna feel back to your normal self. If you want to get back to your proper persona, you have to begin to look like that as well. Don't just talk it, walk it. You see, Blue Pill has the stars, the moon. He has the constellation around his third eye. You know what I'm talking about? His jewelry is a reflection of his greatness. You know, so that's what we're about. Lifestyle. We want you to look the part. We want you to feel the part. I'm wearing copper not for cosmetic reasons, but for reasons that deal with energy. I got silver on one hand, I got copper on the other, because that is a natural conductor of energy. I'm wearing natural stones. I'm wearing gemstones, precious stones, quartz, a conductor of energy, silver, right? They can help you with the COVID, right? All of this has a purpose. So we're not just wearing this stuff just to wear it. There's purposes behind what it is that we're doing. We're spiritually connecting to the land, right? By tapping in to the elements of the land, you know, and it just looks good, you know? So yeah, tap in, support those who support you, right? And for those who want to be a part of the network, because we're not holding back anything that we do from anybody. We welcome all students. I teach multiple levels of training, multiple schools of knowledge, and multiple courses. I'm not a one-trick pony. Our acronym is HAWKS: Health and Wealth, Knowledge of Self. So that's what we come here to do, y'all. All right.
Well, that is awesome. I had to make a correction. I had the D off of your,
It's all good.
but I've been trying to scroll them across so that, you know, this will be in the replay so people will be able to see and they'll be able to get in touch with you. I want to thank you both. Didn't get a chance to play your video, which I wanted to play the video, especially the one that the one where you just dropped one about 3 weeks ago with
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got a
Severe.
new album coming out on All Hallows Eve. I don't mean to cut your wisdom.
Right.
That's the tentative date. It's called Red Summer. It's a classic. But go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I wanted to play that kind of things kind of got away, but it's on YouTube. Tell them what it's the you know what the name of that the title is that one.
Yeah, Sherman Hemsley.
Who is Sherman Helmsley?
Yeah, a Philadelphia native, right? Moving on up. Sherman
Oh,
Hemsley.
that one. Sherman Helmsley, the actor.
Yes. And then the one that you like is VVS.
Right. That's one with both of you. And then
Right.
Sherman Helmsley has Brother Sabir Bey
Right.
at the beginning of it, who's going to be my guest next week, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going to the more
So Sherman Helmsley is from the Jeffersons, right?
Right.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Moving on up.
I was like, why do I know that name? Why do I know that name? And of course, that was his name, Sherman Helmsley.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So Sherman Helmsley, it's on YouTube. Just let me see. I'm not sure how I found it, but I was looking for stuff for you. That's from you all. That's out. And then the one I like, it's called VVS. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, VVS, correct.
UV. Okay, but you all are like I said, multifaceted, multi-talented, fantastic, couple of the hardest working brothers in the real conscious community, and I appreciate you all taking time out of your busy schedule to be on office hours with Dr. G. I hope this was a good experience for you as much as it was for me. And I hope it won't be the last time. And I'm gonna have to turn my son on to get involved. He lives in the ATL and he needs to get education, some conscious education, since he's right down there.
We have a recurring class on Mondays.
Okay.
Yep. Monday class every Monday, 640 Evans Street in the West End. that we made sure it was in the center of the city, so everybody coming from all different directions would be able to meet right in the middle. It's Black owned. It's a Moorish owned, a Mobite owned venue. We have music. We have art. We have food, all healthy food. We have vendors, young entrepreneurs. We give information and entertainment. So it's not just a straight up lecture. You're going to get a musical act. You're going to get some profound information, and you get a special guest every week. I believe Blue Pill is going to be the guest coming up this week. It's still tentative, but you know, we've been doing great. We just had the brother 19 Keys yesterday. So tell your son the first time in, he'll be my guest. You know what I'm talking about? I'll put him on my guest list. He'll get comped and whatever, because we want him to experience not just what it is that's available and what's going on all around him and whatnot, but we want him to experience what his Umi is tapped into, what Mama is tapped into, the same way that I'm sure he experienced when you was tapped in.
Yes, yes. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Any last words before I let you go? We've gone almost a half an hour over, and I know we weren't sure we were going to do the 2 hours. I know you were busy. Now we've gone into 2 hours, almost 2.5. Time flies when you're having fun.
Much success to you, Dr. G. All I want to say is much success to you. You know, continue to keep the fire burning. I'm honored to be on your platform. Me and you have been in communication over probably like a year now.
Yes.
Shout out to my master teacher, Taj Tariq Bey, and all of the elders, all of the Moors. Shout out to the MSTA in Chicago. We will see y'all October the 6th, the weekend of October the 16th. We will be out there. We are keynote speakers at the MSTA convention. So Islam to all of my Moors in the Shah. I look forward to touching down and linking up and breaking bread. Once again, much success to you. And I really look forward to doing this in the physical. You know, we want to pull up in Delaware when it's all said and done.
Yes.
The room.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Maybe now I can get your brother to come on. Now that you all have been on, maybe maybe Brother KT will come on the show. You could have worded it for me.
Anything possible, you know.
I know. But anyway, thank you. Thank you both. Thank you both. Appreciate you. We gonna leave out with my music, you know. And the interesting thing about the theme music with this is that we end up, it seems like when I actually go off, people kind of just stay on just to listen to the
music,
music at the end. So I'm appreciative of Brother Hassan Ghazi El Bey for taking my vision for the theme song and taking it from my mind to, you know, a reality, which is something we can do. It's the same thing you're talking about. Yeah. So appreciate y'all, and let's not let this be the last time. Until the next time, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you for hanging out with us this extra half hour. Thank you so much. Peace.
Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. 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 Really?